organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Jeff the Big Hairy Dog. I see a Marine out there, and I think we have 9 people registered, so we're right up on 10 o'clock right now. We'll give it a quick minute and see if we get somebody else here. And we have 2 other people. Boom, boom. Nice. Excellent. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. So we'll get started here and say we got 3 people. We're expecting 9. I'm not going to wait very long, but we'll give it a couple minutes to make sure that we give them a chance to join up front here, shall we say, and then we'll just get rolling. It's not an overly huge topic. Promotions, V9 promotions and module it's a really nice tool, but it's not too deep. I think we can handle it pretty easily. I just dropped the promotions manual into the handouts section. If you guys don't have that, you should grab that. Always good. There's some really good examples in there if you dig into it. So we'll give them another minute here and we'll get fired up. I'm not sure if my patience is up for like a 5-minute wait. Not sure where you guys are, but certainly on the West Coast here, it's still morning, so I'm having coffee. And if you have questions, of course, there's a whole panel here on the right that lets you ask questions or chat, and I can unmute anybody who wants to be unmuted. I'm totally open to that. I get it. Most people don't. So and more, Marcy, I guess I see you raising your hand. I don't see a question, it looks like. So, well, we're 3 after, so I think we probably should get going, right? All right, well, this is Jeff the Big Hairy Dog, and this is a webinar on version 9 promotions module. I'm guessing everybody can see my screen. All right, so let's go over the basics here. First off, the promotions module comes with Retail Pro 9, right? It when you install Retail Pro 9, it's there, but it is not, shall we say, officially installed. So you have to move the plugin files over to make it activated, right? And you have to turn it on. So let's just start there. Let's go over that real quick. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to pop into my local drives here. This is a little virtual machine, so all I have is a C drive. In my C drive, I've got my Retail Pro 9 folder. So we have an RPro Prom folder, we have a plugins folder. So the files that you need are in here, and they need to be copied from here into the plugins folder, right? So all plugins, by the way, pretty much have a DLL and or an MNF. It's a dynamic link library. That's a manifest file. So you would basically take those two files there, and you would copy them, then hop over into the plugins folder, and you would right click and paste. Of course, mine's going to say that they're already there because they are already there actually. So, you know, so we can skip that. But you need to put those two files into the plugins folder. And then if this is the first time you put them in there, you would then need to close Retail Pro like completely and restart it. Okay. It loads, and you've seen it do this. When you open Retail Pro, the little window says loading plugin files for like a few seconds. That's probably generous. So the point is that it loads plugins last. So you have to relaunch Retail Pro in order to get the plugin loaded. Now you also have to do one other thing real quick here. So you copy the files over, boom, files are in there. You have to come down to your run box, and in your run box you have to do that right there. Actually, that's exactly what you have to do. So to do this, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to wipe this out, and we'll do it fresh. But it's reg svr32, and then you have to put the file in there. Now here's how you do that. Okay, delete this out. Boom. Okay, it's gone. You type in reg svr32. Boom. Right. And then you take the file of choosing here, the DLL. You left click and drag it into the run box, and it pretty much puts the path in for you. So you don't actually have to type all that stuff. Really, really handy trick, by the way. Strongly recommend that. And then you click OK, and it registers successfully. If it does not register successfully, if you don't get this neat little confirmation, then you may not have high enough user rights. So what you could do, if you wanted to, you could open your run box up. I'm just typing run down here, right? Both in Windows 10 and Windows 7. Hopefully everybody's on Windows 10. I'm on Windows 10 in my laptop, as you can see, but I've got a VM here on 7. Anyway, if I type in run and I open the run box, okay, I could right click and copy this. So if it was not successful and I wanted to try and skirt the security here and get it registered, right, I could copy that little statement. I could then go back down to my start button, type in CMD, stands for command. It's just short for command, right? Now, before you press enter, right click that and run that as the administrator. Now, once you've run that as the administrator, if you right click the top and go to edit, you'll see a paste. So now we're in an administrator box, and we paste in that command. You follow? And press enter, and it'll register successfully. That's a good trick for most of the time to get that registered without having to call your IT staff and get other things going on, right, per se. So anyway, you've got to copy the files over. You've got to register the DLL into Windows on every workstation, right? So that has to be done on every workstation. So, all right, I want to close this. Now, the database itself. So in RPro promotions, there is a RPro prom.mdb Microsoft database. It's just an access database. Okay, so the first time you access that database, what you want to do is you want to right-click the executable, drag it down, So right click and drag gives you a menu to create a shortcut. And in the shortcut, you want to open up the properties, and you want to add to the end of this /fix db. So what I'm going to do here to make sure we all got that, and I'm just going to copy this whole thing here. And I am going to open up a little notepad, and we're just going to put it in there where it's nice and easy to read, right? What is our font set to? Let's go a little more aggressive. Right, so you see, this was the default shortcut was pointing to the executable, as it should be. And I added a little fix db to it, right? Now this is a one-time thing, by the way. So anyway, you add that little fix db to it. You then click OK, and you run it once. And it just does that. It doesn't do anything at all. It spins for a second. Then you right-click, go back to Properties, get rid of the fix db. And what it does is it cleans up the Microsoft database so it's ready to start doing things. You get a little error if you don't do that. Now, once you've done that, you could then drag this over and put it on your desktop. Of course, I already have one, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, that would give you a new clean blank database ready to go, right? That's what that would do. So now, once you've got your database set up and you're connected to Retail Pro, and Retail Pro gets it, and you're registered, then you would open this, and I've already got it open down here, so I'm going to pop into it real quick. And so you've got different modules inside here. Hopefully everybody can see these. There's customer pricing, there's promos, there's quantity discount, there is pricing and BOGOs. You've got some options also. So let's start with options, because in options, right there it says enable. If you don't enable, it's not going to work. Okay, so you have to definitely turn on enable and save that setting, right? There are other settings we can look at. We probably will in a bit, but for now, that's the most important one. However, I will say that on the top tabs here, you've got plugin options, price levels, discount order. Now, by default, this last one is unchecked in your discount order. Now, discount order does have a bearing on them. What order do they execute in, right? But the point is that with this one unchecked, it's disabled. And that's a very slick one. The BOGO subtotal module lets you do things like buy $200, get 10% off the transaction. So I would want that turned on. I'm just going to say, check that off, make sure that's turned on. Make sure you save, right? Update it. All right, so then let's just bop through these and understand them real quick. So customer pricing would be to create a list of items that has a special price, and then you would create a name for the list. Then you would attach that name to the customer in say the info one, customer field to use for customer list, info one here or two, right? So if I wanted to create a list of a few items and I wanted to give special pricing to a specific customers, I could do that. Now be careful with this one. It works great for a dozen items. It works not so well for 1,200 items, or situations where we have to keep changing the list all the time and updating it, right? So this would be great for a short, sweet list that VIP's got better pricing on these 12 items. In that scenario, it's outstanding, but it's a little bit laborious to constantly come in here and add items to this list and maintain that in that sense. So if we were doing something like that, I think that one of the other rules, combined with a coupon code of some kind, where you could activate it for members or something, would be better, to be honest. So if it was like wide open and it was like thousands of SKUs, yes, we're going to want a different method. So Promos, really excellent module. So the promos area, I've got some stuff typed in here already, is a very flexible, very powerful area. And by that, I mean that each one of these promos can be pointed towards right over here. If you see this column here, we'll set one of these up in a sec, but it can be either a percentage or an amount or a price. So I could say take 10% off, take $10 off, or the price is $10, right? So I could go either way on that one. So, and I like that flexibility. It makes it nice. So this is a straight up discounting module. You filter it to something, you give them a discount. It starts and stops when you tell it to. Not rocket science here. Okay. Quantity discounts, those are quantity discounts, right? So you get a range. If you buy from 3 to infinity here, you can see you get them for 99 cents each or 95 cents each, right? So you can set up different ways of actually take 95 cents off. Nice. So you can set the price or the amount or the percent, right? Pricing. This one is just like promos, except it doesn't have that drop-down menu. It is only price. So this is if you want to price things specifically at $2.99. So it's actually redundant for the promos area in that one respect, but it lets you divide them up and put your prices in a different menu, which actually is kind of helpful. So I like that a lot. BOGOs, I mean, we all know what a BOGO is, right? Buy one, get one half off, buy one, get one, something like that. Okay, on the BOGO, how do you set up the correct sequence? So Chance is asking a question here. The correct sequence, I'm not sure what you mean by correct sequence. We can set one up. We got to set one up anyway. We can start with a BOGO. It's not a big deal, right? So we can say insert at the bottom, right? It gives us a new line. We give it a name. So, call it whatever we want here. Usually you want to give it a name that makes sense. Like if I said BOGO tees or something, right? We want it to make sense. All the steps you have to do and selecting the correct fields. Gotcha. So the sequence, how do we set it up? Well, we would give it a name. You got to go left to right here. Basically, you got to give it a subsidiary. I have 3, but we're only using subsidiary 1 for this. Actually, that's priority. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, priority comes into play when you have more than one promotion on the same item. I'm just going to say don't do that. Try to avoid that. There are simple ways to avoid that, by the way. Subsidiary 1, stores, you can add all your stores in, or just the ones that it applies to. Now we're down to the filters, and the filters are the most important. So the buy filter and the get filter. So let's say in this case we're going to do an item of some kind, right, or a description. We open the filter and we choose the field we want here, right? So there's DCS, there's DCS name, there's attribute sizes, descriptions, aux fields, user defined fields, UPC fields, ALU, vendor code, price. So you could do any combination of those fields. So if I was a certain style that I wanted, I could take description 1, I could add that over and say it contains or it equals, right, something, right? So I could say it contains t-shirt, right? I don't even know if that's going to work, but you get where I'm going here. Get the filter right. Test the filter. Make sure your filter is 100% on target. That is the area that I find to be most challenging, because you don't want to be too broad, you don't want to be too narrow, right? Anyway, we click OK. So we click OK. We come back in here. We say if you buy one of those, then you get description 1, add, contains t-shirt. Hopefully I won't have a capital H this time. Then you get one of those, right? Apply once or not, usually not. I mean, if they want to do 2 or 3 of these, I mean, keep buying, right? The filter is what we're talking about, the whole thing, yep. So let's finish this line. Let's come back and circle back on that filter in a second, because that is a good point to dig into that a little deeper. So I could say get one, and here I could do what I want. I could say the price, I could say the amount. I'm just going to say, percentage of halfway off, right? So 50% off, right? Now, if I don't give it a start and end date, then it's just active all the time, right? So I got start date, start time, end date, end time. Apply to highest prices, lowest prices, optimize. So Chance, I am going to circle back on that filter, but let's finish this line here. And this is kind of an important one here. So let me just make sure we all understand this, right? So we'll just borrow our little notepad here again. So let's say I'm allowing more than one of these, and I've got an item that was $39.99, one that was $79.99, one that was $19.99, and one that was $49.99. Okay, so if they're buying two, they're getting two half off, right? Which two are they getting half off? So if I say highest, then it's going to be the 49 and the 79, right? If I say lowest, right, it's going to be the 19 and the 39, right? If I say optimize, it's going to group the 79 and the 49 and take half off 49. It's going to group the 39 and the 19 and take half off 19. So these two would get half off in optimized. Does that make sense, everybody? Now, optimized can't be used for subtotal, like when you're doing buy $200 on the transaction, get 10% off the total transaction. You can't use optimized for that. It's got to be highest or lowest, and it doesn't matter which one it is because it's not dealing with items. But if you do lowest, you'll get the customer once, and then they'll come in and they'll say, well, I'm buying these for my sister, and they'll put these two down and make one transaction, then they'll put these two down and make another transaction. So they'll get Y's. Anyway, so probably optimized for me. Coupon code, if you're using one, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Discount reason, so pick a discount reason from your discount menu or type one in, right, for your both reason codes, really, to be honest. And we're not using a threshold. We'll get to thresholds and subtotals here in a bit. So that sets up the basic BOGO. Now let's pop back around to the filter here, right? So in the filter, you can do multiple layers, and I think that maybe was what you're talking about, Chance. Tell me if I'm wrong here. But I could say, if it says T-shirt, then I could come back and say, or, right, contains hoodie. So I can use and or. So it could have, like on this one here, I could actually, let's get rid of this. Remove. I could say where this one here is T-shirt and aux1 or aux2, whatever, is not equal to markdown, MKDN, right? So in that case, I don't want to click or. I want it to be an and. So I would leave it just like that. Now it has to meet both criteria, if that makes sense to everybody. So you can go quite deep here. I could say this and this, or this and this, or this and this. I could keep going with this, right? This just keeps going and going. It's the gift that continues to give, shall we say. But with this filter, here, let me show you what other people have done here. The database I've loaded here that has so much stuff in it is from an actual client up in the cruise line circuit up in Alaska. Now, in a tourist site, you're not worried about the customer coming back tomorrow. They're not going to come back tomorrow. They're on the boat. They're in town. They're gone, right? So now what they've done here to limit their liability, you can see it here. They picked a field, aux8, right? And they're using aux8 almost exclusively here to manage these promotions. Now, pros and cons of that strategy. There's some really excellent pros. One, it's easy to use in the filter. I mean, if you put something in aux8 and you've got a filter that says, hey, when this is in there aux8, it's going to work. It's going to work, right? Number two, it's really hard to double up on your promotions when you've got them all pointed at one field. The field can only have one value. You can't put two promotions on one item, right? You just can't do it. So those are both excellent positive points. But the downside is that I now have to go touch every single item, right? So in that sense, it can be a little arduous. So if you're doing a big promotion on like an entire department, then you can't use that, right? All right, so let's just try something really basic here, right? So promo. Okay, so this top one here, if aux8 equals 50, we're going to take 50% off, right? Okay, let's pop into Resale Pro and let's go look at inventory here, make sure we know what we're doing. Okay, so aux8 here equals 50. There is an item number. I'm going to copy that and we're going to back out of here and try it. So now, when you first install this and you first test it, what you want to look for is the box. So every time I scan an item, it's going to evaluate whether that item qualifies for a promotion. And a little box is going to pop up in the middle of the screen as it processes. So I'm going to ring this in a few times and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's the box, boom, right? And it took 49.95% off. Now we set it to 50. Why did it take only 49.95? Because the item's original price is $9.99, right? So $4.99 is not 50% of $9.99, is it? But it's close. It's rounded. You know, you can't take half a penny, right? That's the bottom line. So if you don't see that little box popping up, that little box right there, if you don't see that little box popping up, it's the tool is not activated. It's not evaluating your items. So the first thing I do when I install it is I go ring an item up. It doesn't matter if you have a rule set up or not. If the tool's installed correctly, it pops up and evaluates and says, hey, there's no rules and doesn't discount, right? All right, so let's layer on, and I'm gonna skate out of this transaction. I'm gonna hit the main menu. I'm gonna pop back into our tool. I'm going to add a coupon code to this, so I'll just make it 50. Now, once the tool's installed and set up and you've relaunched Retail Pro and loaded the plugins, if you change a promotion, you will have to hit the main menu in Retail Pro and go back in to get it to reload the actual promotions, right? So we're going to try that item again, and it's going to do a little box, evaluate, and the item is not discounted now, is it? Because I said in order to get the discount, you have to apply the coupon code. So the coupon code is 50. So in the coupon code field, I type 50, I press enter, and right, and it applies that discount. See that? So obviously we can report on all this stuff. So let's hit cancel. Let's look at a couple of small things here. Sign back in. I'm going to right click here and go to interface, page manager, slide down to the eyes here real quick. So you guys may be aware that there are a number of item node fields. They're very large, excellent for documenting something going on with that item while you're selling it. But they're also excellent for tracking things. So you see here, it's writing the name of the promotion to item note 5. So between the coupon code and the item note, I can report on both of those. And I have reports and played with reports, and that's not what we're talking about today. But if that's something you want to pursue, set up an appointment with me. My name is Jeff, and I can load some reports I have, and we can play with them, right? All right, so back to the promotions tool here. So optionally, we could have that coupon code, and you could then publish that. Oh, I should probably mention that with the tag designer in Retail Pro, you could create barcodes for anything you want to put in here, right? Actually, you could do that pretty easy on the web too. There's a number of websites that'll let you create a barcode out of text. So, but you can do it in Retail Pro. You could make a tag design and barcode a field, and then you could just type in the code you want in like description 3. We can do that in a bit if we need to make sure everybody's good on that. All right, so back into the promotional tool here. So this one's pretty straightforward. You filter it to whatever you're filtering it to. You decide what the level of discount is, whether it expires or not, and it just discounts items real time. If you want a coupon code, add a coupon code. Same here with quantity discount. Again, similar filters here. You got a discount includes and a discount applies. So you got 2 filters here, and these are all set the same way. With a quantity, you have to have a range, right? So they've got to meet a certain criteria. They've got to buy at least 3 to get this discount, right? And then the way this one's set up, they've pretty much gone essentially to infinity, right? But you could cap it. You could say 3 to 5 we get this, 6 to 8 you get that, right? You can make 2 rules. Pricing is, again, just exactly like promotions, same exact filter, right? It's just that in here, we only have the option to make the price be the value we're looking for. We still have a coupon code. We have a discount reason. We have our price levels. So on BOGOs, let's compare and contrast these. This one here, we set up a minute ago. It probably wouldn't work because I probably don't have anything that says t-shirt in there. But this is an item level one. This is a global one here. So the global one, the difference is, all right, well, we'll set one up then, I guess. Insert. Yeah, oh, I see. It's angry because somewhere back here, I did not click save. It gets kind of annoyed that way. All right, so insert. Okay, we're good, right? So let's say this is a buy $200, right? Get 10%, right? So priority can be 1, subsidiary, nice. Stores, grab your stores, the ones that qualify. Buy filter, skip the buy filter, go right to the get filter, change it to a reward on the global discount level. Don't care about the gift quantity. Apply once probably is reasonable. This is a percentage of 10, right? No start and end date for now. That doesn't matter, but highest is fine. And we could have a coupon code to activate this, right? And then here we'd have a reason code of whatever we want our reason code to be. I'm just going to say sale. And over here, use subtotal, and the threshold is 200. And hit save. And let's go see if it works, right? I'm kind of curious. So to load that, I got to hit the main menu, right? Really? Okay, we'll just go choose some stuff, right? Huh. I guess I do have things that say t-shirt. Nice. All right, so we need like 25 of these, right? I got a 20% discount. Not sure why I got a 20. Oh, I think I have the 2 of these in there maybe or something. That other one probably should be deleted out of there, but it worked, right? And then on that point, you got to keep your promotions clean, right? You got to, if they're old, you got to disable them or delete them, get rid of them, whatever, right? Um, delete. Okay. We've only got one global one now. So we'll do this, and I want to talk about speed and scanning, and I want to talk about multiple stores and polling. Really? So my wildcard lookups aren't turned on? It's just annoying is what that is. All right, so let's grab some of these again. Right, so when you set it up correctly, it works, surprisingly. What will they think of next? Now, let's say that global discount started in January and actually ended last month. I don't care about the time, really, to be honest. All right, so now it should have expired, right? And the other BOGO we set up, okay, so we'll just take the whole phrase, right? It's probably smarter. Whenever possible, copy and paste these values, right, guys? And I guess I really could change this to equals since I'm copying it over, right? And I'm just going to chuck the auxiliary 2 thing. I don't have one. Save. So what if we get one of these and we get one of these? Right, and it does half off one of them. Pretty straightforward, right, guys? All right, so let's talk about the speed of scanning real quick. So this worked great for most of my customers, actually, the module. But when you're a boutique or a regular retail operation, your average number of items, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's not excessive. But you see how that the more items I put on here, the longer it's going to take to evaluate each time I scan, right? So if you think about our BOGO back in our notes here, right? As you add these, it could be switched. Like if I add this one, then I add this one here, this one gets half off, right? Then I add this one here, actually probably stays the same. And then I add this one here, and suddenly now this one and this one here are getting half off, right? Depending on your settings and how it's working. If you were set to lowest, it would have switched to this one here, right? When we scanned that item in. But it's reevaluating and it's rejockeying those discounts around every time we do this, right? So when you get to about 50 items, which yes, that's right. Most of us don't sell 50 items in a transaction, but there are places that do. A thrift store, for instance, they can sell 50 items easy. It starts to get really slow. So in that scenario, if you want to, under options here, you have the ability to disable the automatic promotion. Now I like the automatic promotion. I like real-time instant discounts. It's gratifying. It scratches that itch. It makes you feel good, right? But if you say, look, disable the automatic one, apply it, manual promotional processing, perform an automatic check when I press the tender key. And you can say, warn me if we don't apply them, right? So that would change the plan, right? So let's just hit the update button, save that setting. Let's go see how that affects it. Okay, so let's get out of here. Hit the main menu, boom, drop back into receipts. Is there a setting that will consolidate the same item into one line instead of however many there are? Yeah, unrelated to the promotion tool, there is a way to do that, which we could go look at in a second here. Now, the promotion module may separate them out again because the promotion module requires there's got to be an order. If it's buy one, get one half off, you got to say this one's the full price one, this one's the half price one, right? Let's see what happens on that. I'm kind of curious on that. So if I'm out here now and I do this, it's not going to slow down, right? I'm just going to use the mouse, I guess, and down arrow. No easy, quick way to do that with your fingers, is there? So now it's not evaluating the discounts. The little box is not popping up. And so let's do this before I go to tender button. If I go to choose edit items, by the way, and just click OK. Of course, so that's interesting. So there is a setting for that. Now you're getting me in trouble here. All right. Options, system preferences. Let's see how my memory is today. Yeah, it took me a minute. Sorry, it took me 3 tries, but there you go, right? Do not consolidate like items on documents. So system preferences, option system preferences, local documents general, right? So local preferences, documents general. Do not, it does default on. It is not really needed at all for version 9. It was put in there in version 8 because it was a problem in early versions of version 8 that if there was 2 items on the receipt and they were at different prices, it would consolidate to the last price. So if one was $9.99 and one was $4, it was damaged, and then they consolidated, they'd both be $4. So they put that switch in V8, and it was useful in V8, and then they fixed the bug, and it was no longer useful in V8. And of course, when they upgraded to version 9, they left the switch in. So it really should be just turned off. So that answers your question right there, I think, pretty well, Chance. Thank you, by the way, for actually asking questions. I always appreciate it. It's an excellent thing. So let's turn that off. While we're here, I would always reset the dates. And increasing your documents to 5,000 doesn't hurt you. although I doubt seriously, with maybe the exception of a purchase order, you'd ever have more than 5,000 SKUs on anything, so probably not relevant. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. Okay, so let's put our item on there. Now in receiving, there's a button for this, because in receiving, it's very common to scan right out of the box for like shoes or something, and then just hit consolidate. There's a button that just says consolidate. I wish they had one of those at point of sale too, by the way. It would be excellent. They never got around to it, so. But now if I go out to choose edit items, right, I should have, that's weird, it only says one, that's weird. But you see what it did? Just accessing choose edit items and coming back around automatically consolidates those, right? And of course we don't have a tender button, but I believe if I click cache, it'll go into the tender mode. Apparently not. So let's cancel that. All tenders must be removed. Okay, fine. We'll delete it. See, I've got this wacky screen design I've been playing around with. If you got a big screen, everybody's got big screens now. You don't really need, you know, two screens anymore. You can have it all on one, right? So let me just cancel this transaction so I can get into screen design mode. Actually, I could have probably just gone on the tender side, right? But now that I'm here, let's just do it on the screen. So to add a button, you know, this is not about screen design, but there's a button with a finger on it, right? And then you type a T, get down to the T's, grab tender, click OK. There's your tender button, right? Drop it into the screen somewhere. Probably want to make it bigger, and you could certainly modify the font, you know. Yeah, probably big enough. Probably too big. All right, perfect. That's fine, right? So let's see if this thing works. So I'm going to try just bringing it in consolidated, right? I'm just going to go like that. And then let's just say we got 8 of these, right? Okay, now I'm going to click tender. Yeah, that's actually not bad, huh? I was afraid it was going to break it out into 8 lines, but it was smart enough to break it into 2 lines because it's got to be in 2 lines, right? You got 2 different prices. No way around that. So yeah, if you use the choose edit and just circle back, just click out there. In fact, the smart way to do that probably would be this here. Let's try this. Exit here. Sign back in. High security is turned on. New transaction. I don't think I need that many of these to make the point, right? All right, there's 3. That's enough, right? Highlight an item and use choose edit current. Then you won't have to navigate around and you won't pick up an erroneous item. So choose edit current will take you to that item. Just click OK. Come back. Don't do anything else. Then of course we click tender. It'll siphon off one of those and take a discount on the one. And it did break out into 3 lines. Interesting. So there wasn't 2 sets. So it said, okay, buy one a regular, get one half off, and then they just bought another one. Kind of interesting to see the way the logic works, the way that they set it up. All right, so is everybody okay with the basics of setting up a promotion? So let's talk about how we manage the promotions in a multi-store environment. So in a nutshell, all we have to do is copy this MDB from our store to the other store. That's it. Now, easier said than done, right? I'm certainly not gonna dial into each store and copy it down myself, or certainly not drive over, right? So what we're talking about is ECM move list. That's what we're talking about, right? So in ECM polling, right, we set up station files for each of our stores, right? So, and hopefully when we set up our stores, we set them up consistently. Consistency is so important. I cannot stress it enough. It's ideal if every store has the same path. Like we set up all of our stores to have an R drive, right? So for instance, not to go off into the weeds too far here, when we configure our hard drive on our computers, like we have a computer here that say we have a store that has 2 computers. So we have a workstation 1 and a workstation 2. This one here would have 3 drives. It would have a C drive, it would have a Q drive, and it would have an R drive, which is one hard drive partitioned, really, right? So this drive here would have a C drive, it would have a Q drive, and we then partition a D drive over here, and then we map over the network through our little router here. We map a network drive, right? So this is workstation 1, it's backslash workstation 1, backslash R drive, right? And then we map that as the R drive, right? So that's like a network drive. So the path to Retail Pro on both computers is r:// Retail Pro 9 / R Pro 9.exe, right? The same exact path into both. So ideally, everywhere, all stores, main and remote stores have a consistent path. So that being said, let's look at move list, and you'll see why I said that. So in ECM in stations, there's a button down here that says move list. So we click the move list button. It takes us into move list. We say we want a new move list. We want to create a new move list. Yes, we do. And then it brings us to this screen here where we add, on the top, we add a file. We browse to the RPro prom folder. Now it's not going to come up on the RPro prom folder. Clearly, last time I did a move list, I was playing with RPro promotions, right? So normally it's going to be like probably here, or it could even be over in ECM, right? And ECM is next to, not inside Retail Pro 9, right? So it would be up here, ECM. So it might start right there, in which case you have to browse up, scroll down to the Retail Pro, find your RPro prom folder, find your MDB. Now, it says pick up the file from here, at which point you right click and copy this and paste it in over here. Now, again, if you have consistent pathing on both sides, then you don't have to do anything except that. You just copy it over there, right? Now I'm on a virtual machine. I don't have an R drive, so I've got a C drive. So it copies coming from C to C on the other side. If they had an R drive and I had a C drive, I would need to pop into there and change that to an R drive, right? Which I can't seem to do because I'm moving a little too fast. R, right. Okay, so once we do that, we have to check off which stores get this. So if you have 2 different paths in the field, right? If these 3 stores have a D drive and those 2 stores have an R drive, you got to do 2 of these. One to this path for those stores and one to the other path for the other stores, right? And you only check off the stores that are appropriate here, right? Then we save this, and then on the top we click generate move list. It then shows here pending. The next polling cycle picks that up and it sends it. And then if you were to come back in here after that, it would be back to like that. There'll be no move list waiting, right? So that's how we manage the remote stores with RPro, with the RPro promotions. We just actually copy the entire database down to the stores and overwrite their database. And then when they launch Retail Pro again, right now, so what if we forget to do that and we have to send it down in the middle of the day? Then they got to go back to the main menu. They got to call them up and say, look, did you need to exit to the main menu and go back in to pick those new promotions I just sent over, right? Make sense, everybody? You can, if you wanted to, you could move list the setup files, right? So if you set the thing up on the main and you want to get it installed at the remotes stores, you could move list your DLL and your MNF into the plugins folder, right? Not that hard. You'd have to also move list the INI. So there's an RPro Prom INI that has settings, right, that turn the thing on, basically, right? Enable plugins 1, that's turned on, right? So you'd have to send that down. Now, what you couldn't do, obviously, is you could not register the DLL, right? You can't do that. To that, you got to dial in and you got to do the REG SVR32 and the path and the file, and you got to register it into Windows. So that you'd have to dial in. But still, I mean, you could send all the setup files down through polling, and the next day dial into each store and register the thing. That's going to be pretty fast. I don't know. It's not that fast to copy 2 files and really copy 3 files in. So either way on that one, you gotta register on every workstation anyway, right? Okay, I am going to go check on our network here for the agenda, which I did not get. I was trying to get it earlier, but I know the tool pretty well, so I just rolled with it. Are there any questions while I'm checking this that I can answer for you guys? Are there any promotions anybody would like to see me set up? We should look at that coupon thing. We got plenty of time, right? So we should look at that coupon thing, how to print up a barcode thing real fast. That's not a bad thing to do. Let's see how we've done here. So I've just grabbed the, so installation, right? Copy the plugin files, turn it on, yes, and register it. So really we should have another node there, right? It should say register DLL, right? You got to do that. Customer pricing, promote, discount, pricing, BOGOs, yes. Test, test, test. That this goes right back to the whole filter thing, right? Make sure you set the filter up and make sure you test it, and don't just test the items you know it's going to work on. Like fish around, because sometimes if you don't really realize what you're doing. I mean, if you have a simple filter criteria like T-shirt, like I did, then go put that into the filtered view and see what you get, right? Make sure that you're not hitting things you don't want to hit, right? And then move list, right, is the other thing that has to be done, right? And so, right, you got to restart RPro to read that new database, right? Okay, so a quick hack for, like, if I need to make if I want to make my coupon code for this thing here, I want to make it be something like that they could type in, right? But I want the customer to bring in the damn coupon. I want to collect the coupons in the drawer. I want it to be like, an event. I want them to participate, right? So I want the coupon code to be something bigger, right? So there's my coupon code, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Now I would like to be able to have a barcode. Well, all right, so then hop into Retail Pro, right? Open up the Doc Designer. Grab a tag design of some kind. So I'm just going to take, what do we have? We don't have anything good, do we? All right, so, all right, I'll just take one of these, not a J, and then we'll be fine. So I'll click OK on that. I'm just going to delete off like some of this stuff. I don't need all this. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need any of this stuff. All right. So we have a barcode here. It's using 2 of 5 as a language. I'm going to switch that to 128. I find 128 to be very friendly. Now I'm going to grab out of my fields, I'm going to go grab, say, description 3, right? I'm going to grab that and drop it in there. And when I drop it in there, I'm going to go back to properties, look at the schema name. Now, if you can't see the data field name, just be aware that under preferences at the top here, you have to turn on your advanced properties to see that field. So with that on, I can see the schema name. It's E2010. I copy that, click on my barcode, and paste that over the top of whatever's there. Delete this off. I don't need this anymore. Do a file, save as, maybe description 3 barcode, right? Now, if I pop into regular old inventory, right, and I find a description 3, and I type in there whatever I want to type in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I got too many things going on here in my copy paste thing, don't I? Okay, so I type in the barcode of my choice, right? Then I go to print tags. I choose my description 3 barcode and say preview. It should barcode my value. What do we got? We got nothing. I must be in a weird band. What's going on here? What's this here? Oh, it's a multi-vendor. Let's get rid of that. Save, try it again here. Print tags, preview. There you go, right? So now once you have it here, you could now export this to PDF, right? You could turn it into a soft copy graphic of some kind. It's a little, 837 might be too much. And I could now save this and give this to my graphic people, and they could put that in an ad in a paper, and we'd have a barcode, right? So, I mean, you can actually turn on barcode printing for fields but it's just such a pain to find and use. But there is up here under Tools, Schema Editor, you could go and load the inventory file. Don't know that I want to pursue this one down the rabbit hole that far, but if you found a field, like you'd have to find the E2010 field, right? That's the local UPC. So this one's already turned on for barcoding, right? That's store comparison difference with tax field. Obviously not barcodable, but it could be, right? So you have to find the right field, which is kind of annoying in here to find the right field. There it is, though. There's a description 3. So if I did that and I save that, and then if I went back, because I don't trust that schema editor, and loaded that again to make sure that it's set correctly, right? And it is, right? See, so now if I were in here and I went to my fields, and in my fields I went up to the barcode section, I guess I have to reload, right? Anyway, all right. So if we exit the tool now, right, and we reload it, it'll actually should come up in the menu as a barcodable field now. Seems like a lot of work when you can just copy and paste the schema name into the barcode directly, right? Right, so now if I'm in inventory and I pick my design, I click OK, and I go to my fields and I open my barcodes, description 3 is now there. But that was a lot of work to get description 3 there when I could just copy and paste the schema in to any barcode. And I could do more, right? Like if I wanted to have underneath this, if I wanted to have under the field section here, if I wanted to have the graphic have the description 1 or 2 or something of the item, right? Could do. could do that, right? So anchor on the one you want to align to, hold down the shift key, click on the one you want it to be aligned. On the top, click align left, adjust width. It is exactly the same size, right? Click on the barcode, go to properties. You should be able to change your font size right here, right? So I'm regular 8 right now, might be a little small. I'll try regular 14, a little better, right? So now you could print out a barcode that would have a description. Now, if you do this, you got to be on the right item, right? Where if you just do the barcode, you could be on any item because you're just going to edit description 3, print the thing, and probably delete description 3, right? Anyway, that's just a nice trick to know about. We could take a quick moment and look at, let me see here if I can find it here. You never find what you want when you want it, right? Take a quick look here. This is Crystal Reports. Okay, nice. Failed to retrieve data. So maybe I don't have this one set up correctly, or maybe I don't have it loaded correctly. I don't know how far we want to go down this. Right. You guys asleep yet? Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm on a different machine. I usually do my report writing on a different virtual machine, but this one has a more recent copy of promotions. So I loaded this machine for the promotions webinar. It made sense. And of course, we don't have the SQL package loaded. So it was correct in saying that it failed because without the query, it's not going to work. Right. So anyway, you see I got the promotion name in here, and I can tell you the number of receipts for the promotion, the average receipt for the promotion, the number of items, original price, discount percent, right? Price with global discount, and your penetration and your margin. So this is just one report I've made. I've made 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds of reports for different stuff, and we don't have enough data here to really be beneficial, but let's just say I've gone down the path and we probably could set up a report if you needed to. Most people would want to set up a report. And I've looked at promotions with the coupon specifically, and I had a client who did a promotion that cost her, did a direct mailing coupon, and it cost her a few bucks, I don't know, to get the thing out there. But we looked at it, and the return was well worth it. I mean, the return was quite substantial. In the tens of thousands in the return, and it was less than 10,000 for the direct mailer. So very quickly showed that it paid for itself by just running this report. So anyway, I don't want to keep dragging you down rabbit holes. Is there any other questions or any the promotions or anything I can set up for you on the promotions module? Now, a side note, which we won't go look at. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole. The next version of Retail Pro, which is still being implemented, right? It's called Prism, right? And the promotions module is the one thing that in that version is just outstanding. They expanded quite considerably into other areas, meaning, like, for instance, if I wanted to do some kind of membership discount in version 9, I would have to have like a member coupon code, and they show their card. I type the coupon code in or scan it or whatever, and it gives them the discount. In Prism, you could actually use the customer database fields to filter by. So you could say, if their customer database entry says a member in info 1, automatically give them a discount, right? So there's a whole lot more, but again, we don't have Prism. We're not going to be setting it up today. This webinar isn't about Prism, but know that they've done a really good job. The 8 series one was adequate. The 9 series one, they had to rewrite, and they made it pretty damn good. You can do a lot with this tool. And then the Prism one, hindsight's 2020. They really did an excellent job on that one. So anyway, I guess if there's no other questions, I'm not going to keep you then any longer, and I'll wrap up here. Until you guys have a good, excellent rest of your day, and stay safe, everyone. Okay. And thank you guys. Thanks, Chance, for participating, and thanks, Maureen and Maury, for jumping in and putting up with me. Really appreciate it. All right, you guys take care, and I will talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.